pretty simple.
Are you a Trump supporter?
I don't know. Am I? Tell me.
Well, you're wearing a hat that
Of course
says...
I am a Trump supporter. How did you not? Why did you not just simply notice it?
Because I'm looking at my screen and not you. So let me ask you a question. Can I...
You want to ask? Okay, thanks for... Single payer is bad. Sorry. But I respect that you...
Trump actually said that single payer was good at one point.
He was wrong and he changed his mind. Anything else?
I'm Lauren Steiner. I host the show The Robust Opposition. I am also a Bernie Sanders supporter, full disclosure, but I'm also a journalist.
You know, most journalists don't do that, so I have a little more respect for you, even if I completely disagree with about 98% of what you believe in.
Well, I will
The
tell
fact
you...
that you're honest, that you told me what you support. That's very important.
Well, because I don't believe in objectivity. I think every journalist brings a bias to their story, and as much as they try to be objective, they're really not. Now, let's look at the corporate mainstream media. I've had discussions with Trump supporters in the past during the primary election, and I think we are in agreement that the corporate mainstream media is biased. Wouldn't you say?
I would go one step further. They are fully corrupt.
Now, we may think that they're biased and corrupt for different reasons. I think they're biased and corrupt in favor of what I call the deep state. The military...
The deep state.
Okay, tell me what your definition of the deep state is.
Are you a Bernie? I mean, you almost sound like a Trump supporter. I'm just going to take a photo here of that Kevin De Leon bag. Okay, so...
I was a delegate for Bernie at the convention, and this
You
is...
must have been really angry. I have talked to Bernie supporters who were furious because they got robbed. I was cheering with them when they said no TPP. I absolutely agree.
I organized that protest on the floor of the convention.
Do you know a guy named Miguel Zuniga?
Yes, he's a friend of mine.
He's a friend of mine too. And, you know, I got to add this. I hope he doesn't mind my saying it, but he voted for a Republican named David Hadley, who was my assemblyman in the South Bay. Okay, back to business. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, this is great. I want to take...
Miguel. I'm sorry.
I want to take your information, and we're going to keep up a conversation because this us versus them mentality is extremely destructive.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you that the deep state is not... Right now, the corporate mainstream media is saying it's an alt-right term, when in reality, I first heard it on Bill Moyers in 2014. And Bill Moyers is no alt-right. He's as progressive left as they get. So what is your impression of what the deep state means?
The deep state speaks to a tiny military-industrial complex, a group of bureaucrats who want to maintain power, do not want to allow our Republican, little r, Republican form of government, as outlined in our Constitution, to be carried forth. We are seeing secrets that are being released. The leaking is destructive. You know, like what Devin Nunes was reporting on this, I don't think he should have recused himself ultimately. He had a right. He's the chairman of the committee, and he has sources in the White House. Why do they have to start going through committee chairs? I'll tell you why, because of the corrupt, offensive, and undermining deep state.
Well, let me tell you what I think the deep state is doing, and maybe we can find some agreement here. Are we getting sound? Okay. So I've been live streaming as early as October that the deep state is trying to foment a war with Russia, because right now, when you are in the defense manufacturing business, you don't want to be fighting guerrilla groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda and the Al-Nusra Front, because you don't need big weapons to do that. What you need big weapons for is to fight a major nuclear power such as Russia. So they have been fomenting this war against Syria with this false narrative that Assad is gassing his own people, is bombing his own people.
I agree with that. He is nerve gas targeted. They've got more pictures of it coming out, more recordings of that. Assad has attacked his people with nerve gas. That is why Donald Trump sent those 55 missiles attacking that airfield. He didn't kill anybody, by the way. And let's not forget that Barack Obama wanted to play tough on the world stage and had drawn a red line, but did nothing. When you are a power and you don't enforce your rules, guess what? Evil people continue to do evil things. Now, I do agree with you. Oh, my God. I think hell is frozen over. Okay, and I'm still a proud Trump supporter. Okay, Trump has never been a puppet of Russia. Now, if you still believe that, you must be completely blind.
Okay, that is my point. Don't interrupt me, because I want to finish my point here. Okay. My point is this, that the deep state wants a war with Russia, and I'll tell you who's reporting on this. Robert Perry, who was the investigative journalist who uncovered the Iran-Contra scandal for the AP in the 80s. He is reporting this theory. He is reporting this theory that I just said. Okay. So if you believe that that's what the deep state wants, all of a sudden you get Trump elected. Trump is friendly with Russia. Trump has made positive comments about Putin. Wait a minute. Don't we want to have a good relationship with Russia? Okay, don't give me a long answer, but just answer me that. Don't we want a good relationship with Russia, ideally?
We would like to have a good relationship with every country that they would want to have peace with us, and that includes Russia. It doesn't mean that I'm happy with Putin silencing First Amendment rights. I think I should have a right to evangelize in Russia. I do agree with a few things he has said, like minorities need Russia. Russia does not need minorities. A country's nation and identity should be protected. I also agree with some of his pro-family views, but that doesn't mean that I'm a puppet of Russia or that Trump is a puppet of Russia. That's been a lie, but I've known that from day one. And the media has tried to spin this lie that he's a Trump puppet, Trump is a puppet of Putin, and he's not.
And let me tell you why they're trying to spin that lie. They're trying to spin that lie because they want this war with Russia, and they were unhappy that he got elected because Hillary Clinton would have had a war with Russia.
Please, let me talk. Crooked Hillary. I despise crooked Hillary. I'm angry that she's not in a jail cell. She put American lives in danger, and they were killed because she was using her private email server to disperse classified information. Evil woman.
Okay. Hillary Clinton,
I got so much I could say on crooked Hillary. You know, I loved it. I saw a great meme from the Bernie camp, and it said, Hillary hates you, rather than, I'm for Hillary with the three different colors. So I thought that was totally accurate. Hillary Clinton hates everybody. She was an open borders fraud. She wanted to push working Americans to be completely dependent on the government. She was a racist. She called a Jewish man a kike.
All right. Look, I'm not getting into the right-wing attack on Hillary. We have a left-wing attack on Hillary. I've made it many times. I organized a not ready.
It doesn't matter if it's right or left. Corruption is corruption.
Well, okay, we know about the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, do we?
All right.
Your time. He has no information. He's a fool.
We're having a discussion. Now, look,
that's nice.
It's not a waste of time
when they're
because
attacking you, you know you're right. When they hate you, you know you're right.
Okay, listen. What I'm trying to tell you is this, because we agree on certain things, just like we agreed on why we didn't like Hillary. But here,
TPP, ending the Trans-Pacific Partnership was a great thing.
Right, but guess who was in favor of that? Every single Republican. If Hillary.
No, not every Republican supported it.
Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell would.
That's not every Republican. Jeff Sessions opposed it. You had Chuck Grassley who opposed it. Ted Cruz changed his mind and opposed it. There were a lot of Republicans in the conservative caucus who opposed it because they recognized it would undermine American sovereignty.
Exactly. All right, I've been fighting the TPP since 2012, so I understand all the arguments, and I know who was for it and who was against it.
Sure.
But the business-friendly Republicans.
There's free market and there's corporate. You've got to distinguish that. There are people who are pro-business. That's not the same thing as being pro-liberty and pro-free market, because I don't believe in giving subsidies to corporations. I don't believe in giving subsidies to the government either. I hope you agree with me.
Yes, and I will.
Corporations don't get handouts. No handouts.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Trump said that. He said he was going to drain the swamp, and he's put every single corporation and corporate interest into his cabinet.
Prices are going down, people. Think about that.
All right, well, I don't think they are. But anyway, getting back to the deep state. So Trump gets elected. The deep state doesn't like it.
Can I speak to another? There's a group. You got to think of this outside of socialist or nationalist. There is a globalist mentality that has been creeping into the world. George Herbert Walker Bush had a globalist tinge to him, for example, in 88 to 92, and that was one element of it. And in a way, you saw some of that with George Walker Bush. He had said in his second inauguration, our security depends on security elsewhere. That's kind of a globalist mentality, and I recognize that as destructive. We need to care about Americans, and when we put Americans first, guess what? Other countries will prosper, because now you have Mexican nationals. They're fighting in their own country rather than escaping to this one.
Okay, but yes.
In Guatemala and in Argentina.
Right. Now let me speak to that. Because I don't believe in American exceptionalism. I believe we're all citizens of the world. But at the same, can you not please? Can you not interrupt me? I let you speak, and now I'm speaking. We're having a conversation, and what I'm trying to say to you is, I oppose NAFTA. In 1992, I was watching TV, and I was wondering why I was agreeing with Pat Buchanan and Ross Perot about NAFTA. And that's because I agreed with Perot, the giant sucking sound. I could see that all the jobs would leave. Now, Trump, he was smart enough. He stole that from Bernie. He campaigned on that. No, he wasn't. If he cared about American jobs, why wouldn't he manufacture his clothes in this country?
Here's the reason why. When you're a businessman, you're going to go where you can get the best deal. That's what businesses do. America's our president. He's already been fighting for better deals for Americans. He's a businessman. He was doing that in the past. As president, he is now enacting policies so that American businesses can thrive and foreign investors can thrive here. It's already happening.
Yeah, well, you should read Lori Wallach, who's the executive director of Public Citizen Global Trade Watch, okay?
Speak to. I am not a citizen of the world. We have one flag. It's the American flag. I live under that flag. I don't live under the EU. I don't live under some globalist fantasy. That's wrong. I am not a citizen of the world. I'm a citizen of the United States.
Well, that's how you feel. That's not how I feel. It's
a fact.
It's
a legal fact. It is a legal fact.
Okay, I feel that nationalism divides us.
Well, of course it does. You know what? Nations are the spice of life. Alexander Solzhenitsyn said that he was a political refugee from the Soviet Union. He came to live in the United States. He became a citizen here. Didn't want to be a citizen in Russia anymore. Nation states are the spice of life. They allow us to have cultures and diverse viewpoints. I celebrate diversity. How else can you do that? Having different nations.
That's not true. You don't have to have legal formations. But anyway, I'm going to tell you that I agree with you about the Federal Reserve. I agree with you about the EU. I think that the Brexit vote... What?
Trump stopped that.
Don't idolize people. It's not good to idolize people. You're an intelligent person. You are an intelligent person because you keep bringing up Trump like he's some sort of messiah figure. I don't even idolize Bernie, and I really like him a lot. Because somebody comes along and interrupts and makes a comment to you, and you feel you have to defend Trump at every step of the way.
I'm celebrating what he's doing. I'm allowed to do that. I think he's doing a great job. It's not perfect. I don't idolize him. Why did you say that? You didn't answer my question. Why did you say I idolize Trump?
Well, you're obviously very sensitive to my saying that because you've just taken out your camera and you're recording.
That's a big problem, and I want to speak the truth to that. You're recording me. I'm allowed to record you.
You can record me. I said that I think that you're not thinking critically about him. All right.
I don't. Could you apologize?
All right, I apologize. Are you going to still keep taping me?
Of course, because I think it's worthwhile to share with them. I like to keep the media accountable, all media. When I get interviewed by the Daily News, I record them too.
All right, can we get back to this theory about the deep state and why they're trying to take down Trump?
I would say to you, it's not a theory, it's a fact.
All right. Well, okay. My theory, and it's your fact, is that the deep state is trying to take down Trump because he was friendly with Russia, or they perceive that he was friendly with Russia, and they want a war with Russia. So if you believe that premise, then follow me to the next step of my theory. The next step of my theory is they now decide that they're going to impeach him on treason. They're going to say that Trump... that the Russians interfered with our election, and this is another thing that they're doing, the Democrats, to absolve themselves of responsibility from running a bad candidate. They've gone corporatist. They haven't gone... Yeah, let's go here. I want to finish my conversation with this guy, and I'm not going to take up the whole show doing this, but I feel it's really important because what I wanted to say was the Democratic Party ran a bad candidate who ran a bad campaign based on identity politics and fear of Trump, and they didn't run an anti-establishment populist campaign like Bernie did and Trump did. Now, here's the difference. Bernie blamed the corporations and the billionaires. Trump blamed the Mexicans, the Muslims, and...
No, he didn't. So, I'll put this off for now because I want to be able to speak properly. So that's very offensive. Okay, first of all, he has gone after these destructive corporate elements. He talked about that with what was going on with drug prices, for example. Now, when you say he blamed Mexicans, when did he ever say that?
Why is he building a wall? He says they're sending their rapists, they're sending their criminals, they're sending their drug users.
Go back to square one. You said that he blamed Mexicans. When did he do that?
Okay, this is dog whistle politics. Do you know what that term means? Because when he says that they're sending in their rapists, and they're criminals, and that's not even what they're doing. When he's saying the Syrian refugees are terrorists, oh, come on, come on.
Okay, so first of all, let me give you what Trump said. Mexico is not sending their best people. They're sending murderers, rapists, and some of them are good people. Now think about this. That means Mexico has a lot of good people. They're staying in Mexico, first of all. And second of all, you have people who are of Australian descent, of Chinese descent, of Middle Eastern descent, who are coming out of Mexico too. You're saying that Mexicans are all those things. Trump never said that. So would you apologize for that?
No, I won't, because I think Trump...
Then you are a biased media that you are distorting facts right there. That is fake news. It is fake news for you to say that he blamed Mexicans. He never did. And second of all, it's just...
Giving this guy his time, notice.
So good. Second of all, when you say that he blames all refugees, no, he did not. When he said we had to have a pause in immigration from Muslim countries so that we could figure out what the hell is going on. So we don't have a right to protect American citizens. Look what's going on in France.
Most of the terrorists.
Germany, and, what's going on in France, Germany, Great Britain, the Netherlands. You're seeing untold acts of terrorism from these Muslim refugees.
Also seeing the terrorists in this country are usually white, disaffected Christian types like Timothy McVeigh and the rest of them.
Okay, are you saying that there's Timothy McVeigh attacks like that every week, every month?
No, what I'm saying, if you look at...
So that means it's not a pattern, is it? So you should apologize for that too.
I don't have to apologize.
That's the third thing, people.
Look, I apologize for saying something about you because I don't know you and I don't know whether you idolize Trump or not. I am not apologizing.
Why did you say I idolize Trump?
Because I see that you're...
Goats.
I see that you're coming in to defend him.
Oh, Ghost? Yeah, we know you do. Great.
See, now he's coming in to... You did it again. Every time somebody comes in to say something about Trump, you feel the need to defend him. Why can't...
defend Trump?
Because you just insulted that guy because he insulted Trump.
Okay, but that was neither a defense.
Why did you do that? Psychologically, why did you feel you needed to do that?
It's neither a defense or an attack against Trump. It's just easy to mock these individuals because it's just getting so easy to do.
Psychologically, why did you feel the need to do that?
Oh, I didn't need to do it. I wanted to do it.
You did it, and you've done it 3 times since we started this interview. Now,
Tell 2 other people to blow goats.
yeah, well, whatever. Anyway, getting back to what I am going to finish this line of thought because I think you're going to appreciate it.
But you didn't. We need to talk about the deep state really quick. I absolutely agree. I do not think, though, it's more than about seeking a war with Russia. It's about seeking a globalist state in which individual sovereignty is undermined. We have a lot of forces on both sides of the aisle that really believe that we'll have peace and prosperity if we have one government, if we ensure a concentration of power and a couple of global interests. I disagree with that.
I heard what you said, and I want to tweak that a little bit, and that is I don't think they want a global government. I think what we have, and I've been doing a lot of writing and streaming about this, we have something called neoliberalism, which is where they feel corporations can best provide for the people. And we've been having, ever since Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, we've been having the government get out of services and corporations getting in, to the point where even the Iraq War, you had Blackwater, mercenary company, providing a lot of things, and as a result of that, I give 2 examples. The tanks in Fallujah that got blown up because to cut corners, to save money, they didn't use the proper armor on those tanks. The second example is the electrical wiring in the barracks. They, again, cut corners to save money because they're a private corporation, and there was an electrical fire and people got killed. So my contention, and I can give example after example after example, they're trying to privatize public education, they're trying to...
Good thing, by the way.
Well, okay, so we're going to disagree because we come from opposite sides of the political spectrum.
There's some premises that need to be challenged and I think refuted entirely. Okay, there's a difference between corporations which act as fully private entities, and then there are corporations which depend on government subsidy or government contract and rely on lobbyists to create rules and to pass laws which benefit themselves at the expense of everybody else.
All the corporations do that.
No, they do not. I am a free market advocate. Milton Friedman is one example. And so,
Friedman is the godfather of neoliberalism.
okay, so what you're calling neoliberalism is wrong. You're talking about corporatism or crony capitalism. I do not agree with that. I believe that every corporation should stand on its own feet, like the Enron example. They went bust for playing fast and loose and bilking customers in entire states. I agree with that. I also massively, vocally opposed any bailouts to any major corporation.
So the Occupy, I was part of the Occupy movement, and no, but maybe you were in the Tea Party, but the Occupy movement and the Tea Party agreed on the bailouts, they agreed on the Federal Reserve, they agreed on no more wars.
Okay, I would say war is permitted in certain cases, like when we want to send a very clear message to Bashar al-Assad and all the other miscreants, terroristic miscreants, that Donald Trump is not Obama. There has been 8 years of these malefactors getting away with bloody murder, attacking Jews, Christians, Yazidis, religious minorities, even other Muslims. And we cannot allow that. Now, I want to speak to the other thing briefly, because you were talking about people want to push the deep state because they want to make sure that there's more wars. You were going after what was happening.
Let me tell you, let me just finish. No, but I want to finish. I want to finish that, because what's happening is they're trying to impeach Trump based on that. Now, the deep state and the Democrats.
You really think they can do that?
Look, let me just.
Because there's a Republican majority in the House, there's a Republican majority in the Senate. It requires 67 Senate votes to get rid of him.
How do you feel about the fact that your precious Republicans just overturned entire Senate history to railroad through their horrible candidate?
Okay, you're gone from deep state to Gorsuch.
Yeah,
what
you talked about a supermajority, so I want a little digression here. They didn't oppose Merrick Garland for a fucking year. Excuse me for getting upset about this. I don't like Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland is a corporatist. But
why are you angry he didn't get
no, because the Republicans.
Why are you angry about
I'm telling you, because the Republicans think this is a fucking football game.
Cool.
Republicans think this is a football game, and they didn't want Obama, the moron, who comes in with the compromising. Instead, no, because I'm monologuing right now. Instead of nominating a left-wing judge like Sotomayor or Elena Kagan, he nominates Merrick Garland, who is Orrin Hatch's choice. Did you know that Merrick Garland was Orrin Hatch's choice? He's as conservative a Republican. But no, because Mitch McConnell said. All right, hold on a second. Hold on a second, because you don't do that over there, because I want to speak. So, okay, look, I don't think you understand. When you see that we have commonality of interest, why don't you try to understand where I'm coming from? Because I am saying that Merrick Garland was a Republican corporatist, and they didn't do it because Mitch McConnell said he wasn't going to let Obama do anything. Now, I don't like Obama, but I think he should have had his judge approved. And, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, let's talk about the impeachment issue. That's in the Constitution, all right? That's already established in our charter.
I agree with you. I'm stipulating on the impeachment. Let's move back to Merrick Garland.
I want to speak to that. Okay, don't forget that the Democrats, they undid their filibuster tradition in 2013. And there were Democrats in the caucus who opposed this, including a gentleman, he was from Michigan, Carl Levin, he was the U.S. Senator from Michigan. He voted against it, as did, I think, 2 other Democrats, as well as the Republicans. But lo and behold, Harry Reid got his wish. It was a mistake. Republicans had every right to further the Reid rule, and they abided by the Biden rule when it came to Merrick Garland. The Democrats started that tradition, I just want to remind you, and they accommodated it. But nevertheless, I respect the filibuster rule is not in the Constitution, but the 2/3 majority needed for removal, not impeachment, but removal from office, that is in the Constitution. I'm so glad Merrick Garland didn't make it, because he's a gun grabber, doesn't respect our Constitution. I am so happy that Neil Gorsuch is the new Supreme Court Justice. I think he is an excellent replacement for Justice Scalia. And guess what, Democrats? Now that we've gone the next step, so we're waiting for Anthony Kennedy and Ruth Bader Ginsburg to retire or die. And guess what?
That's lovely. That's really lovely. Okay, so first
Bader Ginsburg said nasty things about Donald Trump, and she wasn't censured or impeached, and she should have been.
All right, I'm going to finish my point on this, and then I've got to go. I've got to finish my point on this. So what I want to say to you is that the deep state
I agree with you. Get rid of the deep state, but the deep state
Okay,
is a lot
hold
more,
on.
The deep state is a lot more than a couple of corporatists who want to.
You're not being heard.
Who want to make money. I am being heard because I got a camera.
Okay, well, what I'm saying, okay.
I've got a microphone.
So they can impeach him.
You're going to listen to every damn thing I say. Wedding Singer, 1998. Sorry,
They can impeach him on the emoluments clause,
They
which
cannot impeach him for that. And
doing business with foreign countries.
when he was running for office, sure.
All right, he hasn't divested.
What about Hillary Clinton and all the business?
I agree with
What
you.
about Bernie Sanders?
All right.
He owns a condo in Vermont. How does that socialist? How do you define
What?
that? Yeah.
First of
Bernie
all,
Sanders is not a socialist.
he's not a socialist. He's a democratic socialist.
He's a socialist.
He absolutely said that he doesn't believe in expropriating private property.
He does. He believes in taxing the quote-unquote rich and spreading the wealth.
All right, you know what? I've tried, guys. Okay, I've tried to have a respectful conversation with this guy. I have gone off on Hillary. I've gone off on Obama. I've defended Trump, and this guy is not a person that we can have a conversation with. No, we didn't, because you concede nothing. You concede nothing, and there's no meeting in the middle with someone like you. You countered everything that I said. You you agreed with me about all the things that fit your frame. You agreed with me about all the things that fit your frame, but not the things that fit your frame of free market, Milton Friedman, Chicago Boys School of Economics, of a right-wing reactionary judge, a strict constructionalist, which when they formed the strict.
has nothing to do with free markets. What's up? Audio off here. Thank you. Please do, because
Yeah.
he wouldn't let me talk.
Yeah, I'm not letting him talk but anyway, you can see our stream, March and Rally, Los Angeles. You can get our entire conversation here. I've come here to interview people that are against this war. And what about the fact that Trump has a tweet from 2 years ago where he told Obama not to be baited into going to war with Syria?
Oh, easy. He isn't going to war now.
So he did exactly what Hillary Clinton said to do an hour before he did it.
I want to talk to that. That's the deep state again, leaking the military plans of the Trump administration. That's all it is.
Oh, my God. All right, I'm out of here. I'll talk to Miguel about you. Nice talking to you. All right. Okay.
It's been fun.
Don't go. I was going to make espresso.
He said I was going to make espresso.